too long didn't watch. Broken games released at launch in the gaming industry are going to become even more common, and it's your fault.
Space Coconut.
So as you may or may not know, Outriders had a rough launch. On launch day, the servers blacked out and people couldn't even play the game. If they managed to beat the login screen boss, the myriad of bugs and issues ruined their limited gameplay. And if that weren't enough, many people had their inventories completely wiped after hours and hours of playing the game. In his review, Angry Joe shared this clip by Alex.
And I can already hear the fanboys and apologists booting up their excuses. Every game has launch issues, Joe. No, stop it.
No. Stop making excuses for people who delayed a game for 9 months to put it out in this state. Stop. This is why games continue to come out in this state, because people like you are making excuses for people like them. It is not appropriate. This is not how video games should have to work. There are literally companies you can hire to stress test your servers for you to make sure this shit doesn't happen. And they chose not to do that, so they don't get credit for working on the weekend because they didn't do their fucking job for the last 9 months. That is not how this works. Games come out unfinished because you people keep apologizing for them. Go, oh, no, it's fine. No, this big plate of spaghetti's got shit all over it, but it's fine. The spaghetti underneath still good. No, stop it. That is not how this works. You as a consumer, you paid your money, you deserve better. Have some more fucking self-respect.
Now, Outriders isn't the first, the worst, or the last to release an incomplete mess or a completely broken game for purchase. Cyberpunk 2077 might be the best example in recent memory, but let's not forget No Man's Sky, Fallout 76, Skyrim, SimCity, and who knows how many other games, and for regular viewers of this channel, the colossal mess of the Binding of Kin DLC chapter for Dead by Daylight, on top of all of the bugs that currently exist and consistently pop up every patch nearly 5 years after its release. Of course, I'm just as guilty as everyone else. I pre-ordered Outriders because I was excited about the philosophy of the devs behind the game, and I wanted to support that philosophy. I'm still optimistic about the future of the game, and it's currently my main game while I wait for updates to Valheim, Path of Exile 2, Dead by Daylight, Ashes of Creation, and Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. But optimism doesn't change the current state of the gaming industry, and I'm not just talking about game companies. Not only do they regularly ignore their player bases in pursuit of profit, some dedicated streamers of those games actively take advantage of their own audiences in similar ways. While players demonize EA and other companies for their loot box shenanigans, we have companies like Streamloots giving streamers the ability to put loot boxes in their own streams. There's litigation in multiple countries about the effect of loot boxes and gambling on vulnerable people, particularly children.
Do you consider loot boxes to be an ethical feature of your games? Kerry?
Well, first, we don't call them loot boxes. I think that was
whatever term you wish to apply to them. Do you consider them ethical?
So what we look at as surprise mechanics, but we do think the way that we have implemented these kind of mechanics, and FIFA, of course, is our big one. Our FIFA Ultimate Team and our packs is actually quite ethical and quite fun, enjoyable to people.
Streamloots is a platform with over 50,000 streamers using it to engage with their communities to create incredible fun moments for their channels and to monetize their streams. The way that all of this is done are through cards,
surprise mechanics,
that your community can play while you're actually streaming. Each of these would be different interactions that are tailored to your specific stream. Think about them like
Kinder Eggs or Hatchimals or
Pokemon cards that your stream can use in order to interact with you specifically. And that money goes straight into your pockets. That's pretty cool.
But the reason people utilize the monetization system in the first place is because it's extremely profitable to take advantage of these people.
The coolest part about this as well is that Streamloots offers you a lot more of a higher revenue share than other monetization platforms.
That profitability is why game companies are fighting tooth and nail to retain the ability to sell loot boxes, and why your favorite streamers who don't care about their audiences utilize the service to varying degrees. A loot box is a loot box, and loot boxes are predatory, even under the guise of supporting your favorite streamer. I mean, that's what tips, bits, Patreon sponsorships, and OnlyFans are for. In pursuit of money, developers face increased pressure from publishers, heightened expectations, overblown hype, and promises that are too big to keep continue to plague today's gaming industry. And it's our fault. Players want epic adventures in hyper HD quality with infinite content days after any announcement is made, while we pile on expectation after expectation, ignoring the cost of making something like that. Players like myself who want to believe the best in companies that try to be consumer friendly will pre-order games to support developers that hold that philosophy. Other players will simply play new games because they don't care about the bugs and are just trying to escape their daily lives. Younger players might not even understand the concept, let alone care about being treated fairly by a company. Because we, as people, buy games for our own selfish reasons, the gaming industry as a whole is only going to get worse. Remember those stories about Activision Blizzard firing people after making record profits? There was outrage among the internet news outlets, and players like my wife continued to play because they wanted to play a game they enjoyed. Then, Activision Blizzard did it again this year. People got upset and raged on Twitter, and now months later, people are still buying and playing their games, so Bobby Kotick gets paid $200 million while people at the company work for a fraction of that or simply get fired. It's not right, and no one will say that it is. But no one will give up their game of choice, even knowing that the CEO will get most of the money that they pay. We can probably bet that we'll get another Activision Blizzard story about record profits and layoffs the same time next year. Games like Valheim shake up what we know about the gaming industry once in a while. Companies like People Can Fly do their best to be consumer-friendly and transparent. Companies like EA will actively take advantage of their player bases to maximize profit, and content creators will continue to talk about and show off every new game they can for that sweet, sweet ad revenue. Because people are people. Some people are great, and some people are awful, but everyone is selfish to varying degrees. And that selfishness is why games will continue to be released in a broken state with outrageously predatory monetization and bought by people who have no self-respect or simply don't care. Unfortunately, there's really nothing you or I as individuals can do to change the future of the gaming industry. There is a silver lining though. Now you know that it's partly your fault, and you'll be able to spend your time and money on products and people that are worth it to encourage companies to make consumer-friendly choices and some content creators to stop taking advantage of their audiences. But you can do whatever you want. As for me, I'll focus my time and money on companies and content creators that I believe are worth it. It's all any single person can do. But if enough people start doing that, we might actually see something change in the industry. Don't count on it though, just focus on yourself. It's what we always do, after all. This certainly wasn't where I thought this discussion would go, but I think I'll keep it. Let me know what you think, both good and bad, in the comments below. It's definitely going to be a good conversation either way. In the meantime, I think I'll go poop on some games I like. I think I'll start with Outriders.